to him. And so Martha had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. I think this is interesting because in that culture, when they referred to someone sitting at the Lord's feet, what that meant was that they were a disciple to a rabbi, that they were a student to a teacher. And this is the position that Mary has. And so in that culture, most of the folks thought of women as actually doing the kind of thing that Martha was doing, making a sandwich in the kitchen, if you will. But yet Jesus is honoring Mary by spending time with her as a teacher to a student. In fact, I think that Mary probably, at least in my opinion, was one of the greatest disciples that Jesus ever had. And she caught that moment there where she knew that this was important to sit at Jesus' feet, and all the other things could take care of themselves. But Martha was missing that, so it continues in this passage in verse 4 that Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. Ever been there? See, this is someone who is too heavy, weighs too much. Their sense of self is actually too inflated. And so Martha was distracted. She was trying to accomplish all this stuff. And keep in mind, she's in the same house, even in the same room, with the man who could take just a couple loaves and fish and feed 5,000. But yet she's worried about kitchen preparations. She was thinking less of Jesus' ability and more what she had to get done. So she came to him and she asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you're worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed." And so Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. It would not be taken away from her there in that moment for her to go and do work in the kitchen, and for all eternity as we even talk about her now and reflect on the choice that she made. Jesus said that Mary has chosen what is better. What does that even mean, really? To choose what's better in these times, in these circumstances that she's in. In Greek culture, in that time, they had a couple of words that described how time is measured. One is chronos, which is basically the sense that time is something that we can measure with seconds and hours and days and weeks and so on. It's how we basically clock time. It's the word that we get chronology from, the past, present, and future. But then they also used a different word that maybe you've heard of before, called kairos. And this is, on the other hand, an emphasis on the moment of time. It's a sense of the